Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV for another discussion in regards to manager options for Chelsea. Another little talk about Graham Potter. We're also going to review Bruno's comments today, as well as his first press conference for the game against Liverpool, which we've still got to do a match preview for as well. We'll be getting into that. But we do have a special guest who we're going to get into in a second, guys. In the meantime, you know what you need to do, guys. You know what I need you to do. Smash the like button, subscribe. Let us know who you want next for this Chelsea manager as well. And let's cue that intro. Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV for another show for you guys. Yes, we were on it last night. The news, to say the shocking news, but more of like a surprising news, especially for me in the way it happened. Graham Potter getting sacked. We had a big talk over here with over 700 people talking about the decision to make that happen. We're going to continue more on it today, obviously with my friend that hasn't been on here for a little while actually, so it was nice to get him on what we'd probably say good circumstances. Piers, I mean, how you doing, mate? Firstly.
Yeah, it's good to be back on. I think last time we was talking about the January transfer window, maybe. So, yeah, a couple of months have gone, and a lot has changed as usual at Chelsea. A lot has happened. Graham Potter has gone. I'm a little bit surprised it was after the Villa game, to be honest, and not sooner. But he is gone, and I think it's going to be very, very interesting. And also, I guess, a mixture of excitement plus nervousness as we now await the next appointment. There's been a lot of different rumours of when that will be, but I think the club will want someone in before Real Madrid. But I think a game tomorrow as well. It's just crazy. Like Liverpool, it just had to be a big game tomorrow, didn't it? With the circumstances as well. Like it is absolutely mental what's happening at Chelsea right now. And yeah, I mean it's exciting to be fair. Chelsea never let us down.
They don't, and it's one of them things. I just feel like with Chelsea, it's always a roller coaster. You know, like other clubs just kind of go quiet and they only come alive when it's like match day. With Chelsea, I always feel like there's just so much drama around our football club. Like there's always something. If it's not off the pitch, it's on the pitch. It's like I don't know. We just never move quietly. We're always in always in the headlines. I'd say we're always in the headlines, and headlines in regards to Graham Potter getting sacked, which is where we're going to quickly start first. We are going to talk about options, the potential options. Will it be sooner? Will it be later on in the summer? We're going to talk about the options as well. We're also going to talk about Bruno's first first press conference as well as Chelsea manager. We're going to get into that. Big up to everyone that's in here at the moment as well. Smash the likes, guys. Over 100 of you guys already in here. Big up to Stephen. Big up to Hiking with Martin, Lee Taylor, all of you guys. John, nice to see you as well. Everyone. Literally, I can't go through. So big up to Joey in the house. I haven't seen you in a while, bro, as well. Tank saying Zidane to Chelsea. I think that's definitely one that's off the cards. It's not even been a mention of Zidane to Chelsea. The three that I've sort of picked up more, and obviously one that's picked up more is obviously Nagelsmann, who we're going to talk about. There's always Luis Enrique, Pochettino as well. Spalletti was mentioned today as well, which is another one. But let's just stick to Graham Potter for a second, Piers, because the decision to bite the bullet as the owners of Chelsea Football Club, and I'm talking about Todd Boehly and Eghbali, and actually having to sack the guy that they originally sacked for originally sacked on Thomas Tuchel to appoint him on that. And when you think about it, like in one season, we've lost two managers. I don't think any club has ever lost two managers in one season. And now we could potentially have a third manager in one season, which I think is just crazy in itself. I mean, what were your thoughts on the news around it yesterday? Was it more of a shock for you? And what were your overall feelings when you heard the news?
It was a little bit of shock in terms of the timing. I think what was the shock was that a lot of sources were saying he was going to get the Liverpool game at least. He didn't. He was never like fully safe. He was under extreme pressure, but it just felt like obviously he didn't get sacked straight after the game. He didn't get sacked, early on into Sunday, and then Chelsea released it at Sunday 8 o'clock. So I think there's various rumours about when it actually was decided, but yeah, I just think it was a bit of a shock the timing. I didn't expect it honestly. I expected him to get the Liverpool game, and then if he lost, probably sacked because then you had Wolves and Real Madrid. So yeah, I thought the new manager would take charge for the Wolves match, which he still may do. But yeah, I was a little bit shocked.
Yeah, I think for me, I said it yesterday as well. I was shocked in how I thought he would have got Liverpool to be honest. The fact that we were told mixed messages. We read some articles that said the decision was made on the back of the Villa game, and then we were being told that it wasn't that it was sort of agreed that he will take the Liverpool game, and then it was early yesterday afternoon that the decision then swung back round, and that's why it's kind of shocked that maybe everyone and players and whatever. We were told that Lawrence Stewart and Paul Winstanley are two individuals that have been pushing the whole idea of maybe potential and Vivell to a degree on maybe getting rid of Potter and looking at maybe a new manager as well. How did from what you heard? How did it all occur, and in what way? From what you understand, was it the fact that you felt that the ball done it straight around the back of Aston Villa, or was it more because we've got sort of two sort of conflicted stories in and around this? So, what were your thoughts on that?
Well, I posted an article probably about a month ago now. I was told at the time that some players were disinterested in the team meetings that were
Yeah.
being held before matches. So I thought that was quite interesting. And then after Aston Villa, I got a message. I think it was like 12, 20 past midnight, I think it was, saying that Vivell had been pushing the sacking of Graham Potter after the Aston Villa game. Vivell, Igbali, Bowley, Stewart, I believe, and Winstanley were all watching the game, even though a lot of people thought they weren't. So I think that was significant that they could see again the fan boos and the reaction and the team performance, which, to be honest, wasn't actually as bad as the likes of Southampton at home. We actually did create a lot of chances, but still, you don't lose 2-0 at home to Aston Villa. It just had to end. I think it had to end weeks ago, but they've prolonged it, and it's going to be interesting to see where we go from here. But yeah, I think a lot of the things that are coming out now in terms of like certain players weren't happy and this sort of stuff. I was told this a few weeks ago, so I'm not really surprised, to be honest. It's just looked like not the right fit from the start, is what I would say. I said even in his very very first press conference, not press conference, like interview with the Chelsea app. I sent on a podcast last night. He did like a 15-minute walk around of Cobham, and not once in that 15 minutes did he ever mention winning trophies.
Yeah.
Not one. And I was just like, what is this? Like, yeah, so I don't think the fans appreciated him from day one, respected him. And I don't think the players did either. I don't think the players took that step from Tuchel to Potter. I don't think they saw that as even a sideward step. I think they saw that as a backward step.
Yeah, we've had numerous discussions about Potter, and one of the things that I stressed a lot about in watching him was it wasn't specifically so much, and I said to you before, so much what he was doing off the pitch. And I know that pissed a lot of people off, don't get me wrong, but it was more how he managed the game, and we spoke about it before in terms of like, the game plan, the identity, the affecting, how he affects games. Like, I've never seen a coach able to regress a team so much in the second half than him. I've never seen it that much. Like, you come out first half, you play all right, and you come out second half and you're completely opposite. And then on top of that, the decision making on the substitutions, like the Aston Villa one was confusing. We had Conor Gallagher playing left wing and Madueke playing right wing. They were two of his substitutions. He brings N'Golo Kante on, right? And then N'Golo Kante ends up being our furthest forward midfielder with Kovacic holding in the DM role. Like, I don't think he had an idea. I think this job was maybe just too big for him. And it was very hard to call earlier, because I know a lot of the times people say, well, he had a lot of injuries and he needs a bit of time and he needs the squad back. And I said, look, the big test comes when he has the squad back, when he has the availability of players. And then it's going to be down to him getting the best out of what he's got and then tuning them in to the game plan, to what it is that he wants to do and how he wants to play things. But we just never saw it, Pies. And, that win streak there, or win percentage for a Chelsea manager, we were all slatering Frank Lampard, if you remember that, how bad this fan base turned on Frank Lampard because of how bad the losses were. But this guy's rock bottom. Like, it's unbelievable. And people want to come at the owners for it. The owners got it wrong. Don't get me wrong. They made a decision to get rid of Thomas Tuchel with no ears, no guidance, no like knowledge. I think it was just a raw reaction. And then I think they just thought Graham Potter, and however they worked it out, whether it was data analytics at the time, just felt that he was the best man to come and do the job. They pulled him away from Brighton and they got him in. And I'm not sure, players, right? If we'd have had Vivell, Winstanley, and Lawrence Stewart all in before we got rid of Tuchel and then appointed him manager, I don't think we would have signed Graham Potter. I really don't think they would have gone with Graham Potter. What do you think?
No, I don't think so either. I think it was very much a Bowley and Igbali, led decision to get Graham Potter. I think Igbali even spoke about it on like a conference, like a business conference show, not long after we appointed him. Like he was talking about how we got this guy from Brighton and how he fits into our model and whatever project. So I think they took advice from people at Brighton as well. I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's quite an interesting way to do things. But now we've got a recruitment team. They're definitely going to be. I think it's already been reported that Winstanley and Stewart are going to be leading like the search. So going to be interesting to see who comes. I still think it'll be Nagelsmann just because he's got so much support already from the hierarchy. But I think it doesn't hurt to interview others if they're quick about it.
100%. And obviously, we're going to get into more of that in a second in regards to next options. We're going to go through all the options and we're going to break them down and we're going to talk about it as well. But just staying on Potter, there's a couple of stuff that come out today in regards, which I was waiting for, in regards to, previous matches and whatever else. And obviously, we had this one from yourself, guys, which from Richard Romano coming and saying that Chelsea decided to shock the dressing room at the same time. Some players were not very happy at all with Potter. So again, it was a bit weird because yesterday we were told that the players were shocked that he was sacked, but then at the same time, we're now being told that the players are not happy with him anyway. So, did he lose? Do you feel he lost the players? Do you think, or do you think it was more again just a ball decision on this one?
I think you have to split it into sections. I think some players were obviously not happy. Yeah. Some players, I don't think anyone was like happy because you can't be happy with 11th. But I think some people saw the vision more than others, like saw, maybe next season we can improve that sort of thing. Whereas others just thought, fuck this. He's not that guy. Like we downgraded all that sort of thing. So, and I think that's actually one of the biggest things. And what I said was at the time, a month ago, I said it was a split dressing room, and that is terrible to have because when you're all on the pitch together, like you could have 4 starters who don't like Potter and the rest who do like Potter. They've all got to try and play together to win. But those guys that know, I don't like Potter, as much as they don't want to lose, if they win, 10 games in a row, the manager that they don't like is obviously going to stay. So it's a very, very difficult. It's so difficult when you're a player. I don't like player power, but it's always going to be prevalent. You can never ever stop every player. Like you can never make every player happy. You can control it, but you can never make every player happy. So player power is always going to be there. But I think in the future, you need to, like Chelsea's board and Chelsea's hierarchy, the owners, they need to make sure that they filter out these players that are actually the bad eggs. And I don't want to speculate, but the new manager comes in. I don't want Ziyech staying. I don't want these players that have been earmarked for sale to stay and get a fresh start. That's not what this is about. That's not a project. That's just, that's not cutting the scraps. That's starting, with the dead wood that we've already got. So go along with your plans and make sure the new manager that you appoint is aligned with these plans, is aligned with the squad clear out, is aligned with what we're trying to build with the young players, is aligned with Enzo Fernandez and Mudryk and developing these players. And that's what these interviews are going to be really important for, I think.
And this is why I think the next, and we're going to obviously get to the managers in a bit, but why I think the role of the next manager is so important. And I know they're trying to make a rush. Well, we're being told they might be making a rush of this just because of the Champions League. They see it as an opportunity to go out and still win it. But, I think they really need to take the time with this, and it might take longer. Some of the managers that they interview may not be ready now, i.e., someone like an Nagelsmann or whoever that they're going to talk to. So it's a tough. We're in a tough position right now. We've got 10 games left of the Premier League. What do you do? What do you do? But I agree. Whoever comes in, they're not going to want to keep these deadwood players, especially players that don't want to be here in the first place. Hakim Ziyech should have been in PSG. Do you know what I mean? He should have been PSG. And obviously, we had this comment here from the Mouse Sports saying that, Todd Bowley and Nick Bowley were left hugely concerned by Graham Potter's decision to start Ziyech against Tottenham in February after he failed. Again, that doesn't shock me because us as fans were even shocked that he started or came in straight away and dropped an absolute stinker on top of that, might I say, as well, which doesn't shock you. For a man that's meant to be very good with, like, he had a degree in, psychology or whatever it was. Yes. I don't think he really used it well. I don't think he used it really well. Apparently there's a Fabrizio update. I don't know what that's about. Someone just said, so I need to have a look at that. Guys, again, if we get any updates, we're gonna keep you posted. Don't worry about that. It was to do with Julian Nagelsmann. So we're going to talk about that in a bit. That's going to go into what we were talking about in a second. But yeah, it doesn't shock me. All these little bits that we're hearing now that are coming out are not massive shocks. And obviously, you brought out this comment as well, Piers, here, which goes on to say that sources close to Chelsea squad pondered whether Potter had the force of character to convince players to do things they deep down did not want to like Tuchel possessed. There was an expectation, and it would even have been understood at times if Potter did things in a bid to ruffle a few feathers or pinned a few players up against the dressing room wall when things were not going to plan. Some players felt a stronger personality was needed and someone to be far more firm with them. And I'll be honest with you, from what I've seen on the sideline, probably explains pretty much everything else in terms of how he is in the dressing room and how he is in training, because every time we were 1-0 behind, 2-0 behind, every time we were behind, there was no conviction or, buzz to try and get us to go. It was very like just clapping them, like, yeah, well done, sits down, talks to his, he just didn't have the energy. He didn't have the right, he just wasn't ready, is what I would say from watching him. And I've been to a lot of games and I just assessed him and I just watched him. He just didn't look like he had the answers. He didn't look like he had, I don't know, he didn't even look like he had the players on the side to a degree sometimes, because he decides to play players out of position. And even in like the Villa game, he left us unbalanced, in my opinion, in that setup. Like, I don't blame players looking at him and going, well, why should we take him serious? Because I don't think he is a serious character. He was a serious character. And that's a problem. That's a problem, especially when you're going to have, and we talk about this, players, in the summer, we're going to have a huge squad. People ain't even thinking about how big this squad's going to be. Some are going to be gone, obviously. Others are going to be loaned. And can you imagine Graham Potter trying to, from what we've seen at this point, trying to balance the quality? And this is without Nkunku and Malo Gusto and others, and maybe signing, defenders and midfielders or whatever we're going to do. I couldn't have imagined him getting the balance correct in the squad and what we need moving on to the next season. He just showed me too many negatives. The stats obviously completely, put the nail on the coffin, but the eye test showed me that he just wasn't good enough, in my opinion. And I, we tried to give him time and it just wasn't enough, was it? Just not enough.
No, I totally agree. I think I was personally done after the Spurs loss. I think that was the most demoralising horror. Like, if you can't get Chelsea players up for the Spurs game, you are not a Chelsea manager. Simple as that. We never lose to Spurs. Like, I'm serious, because like that game was actually like I remember sitting there and I was thinking, what the fuck? Like, I actually thought something had seriously gone wrong the day before or something in training, because that was the worst performance. Honestly, Southampton was bad, but Spurs away, my God, that was horrific. And I just thought there's something seriously wrong here, because we always turn up for Spurs, no matter what group of players it is. For fuck's sake, like 2015-16, we even managed to draw against them. Like, it's ridiculous, bro. I'm sorry. So, yeah, I mean, something was seriously wrong. Conflicted squad. He was not, he was. very inconsistent as well with team selections. He was constantly changing things, which I know is hard when you've got a big squad. But he played like 43-1 for so many games, and then he started with the 3-4-3. Cool, we won a couple of games, but then he would not like change in game to a four at the back or anything. Like even against who's it? Villa, of course. Like he still continued with the back three. Like even though we needed 2 goals, like I thought some of his subs were very strange in that game. So,
I don't think he had any game. I don't actually think he had a plan. I don't think he actually had a plan. That's what I would say. Guys, over 300 of you in here. Big up every single one of you guys. 19 minutes in. Smash the likes, because I know we haven't got enough likes in at the moment. So get the likes up, please. Share on your socials as well. Subscribe if you're new as well. We're going to move on in this short second to obviously managerial options. And we're going to obviously break them down and talk about them and whatever else, which we'll get to soon. Big up to Couch Critic as well. And big up to Ashraf as well, and big up every single one of you guys that are in here. It pretty much just adds to what you just said, actually, as well, in regards to substitutions and tactical setups. Because we had this comment here, says down from the stands during Chelsea's draw against Nottingham Forest on New Year's Day. A member of Chelsea's backroom team went to double check with Graham Potter if any part of the tactical setup they had been working on all week had changed. It hadn't. Instead, Potter and his coaches concluded this was a team doing not what they were told, but what they wanted. Does that have any links to maybe what happened with Thomas Tuchel near the end? Do you think we have issues with some of the players here that maybe think that they just can just not follow rules in many ways?
I mean, if this is true, and I don't know if it is, then yeah, this is obviously a concern. Yeah, I mean that's not good. I mean, it's either that or they've just been badly coached and they don't understand. Not that they weren't doing what they were told. I mean, I mean, I know I remember the Nottingham Forest game. It wasn't a good game, but it's definitely not the worst I've seen. I've definitely seen worse, which is alarming considering we only drew that 1-1. So yeah, it was.
I don't really get
a big player issue, I think. Still, maybe.
Even if it is the case of, they were kind of doing what they want and not following rules. I agree with you. There's no way in hell then players go out there to just play that how they want to play. I think clear instructions is an issue, and I don't think they're fully. And I keep saying it. I don't think we ever really had a game plan in the way that we tried to play. I can only really think back to a couple of games where I looked at Graham Potter and I thought, this is decent. And it was the Champions League run when we were at the bottom and we made our way back, in that sort of period. And that was the only time where I thought, actually, you know what, we can see what we're trying to do here in the way that we was playing. But other than that, they just don't seem to have been able to grasp what it is that we're doing. At Aston Villa, we played okay the first half. And yeah, maybe we should have scored with Mudryk and whoever else. Right, we know this. But it just seems like they just fizzle out. And that's what worries me a little bit. Worried me with Graham Potter. They fizzle out and there's no real energy behind them to get them to go again. It's just we fizzle out and we just die off. And it just it was just not making sense how they were playing. Look, at the end of the day, he's gone. And I think it's the right decision. I think the owners have had to bite the bullet on it. I don't think that was what really they wanted to do. But what we can say about the owners, going to the owners for a second, is at least they're showing a bit of balls. They've mucked up and they've kind of turned around and gone, do you know what? We've mucked up here. We can't keep it going. The fans have turned against each other. They're fighting in stadiums. Let's get rid of this guy. Like, we're going to have to call it, And now it's been passed on to the recruitment team, which is what we needed before they made decisions to get rid of Tuchel. We already know, Pies. We've spoken about this. Tuchel should never have gone. Tuchel should have never been sacked in the first place, but the decision was made, and I think it was mainly to do off the pitch anyway, between the three of them. But Couch says the lineup against Forest was Kepa, Cucurella, Silva, Koulibaly, Aspie, Mount, Jorginho, Zakaria. What an awful lineup that is. I'm sorry. Look how many defenders we had on that pitch. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, Zakaria 5, Jorginho. Jesus. Yeah, that is not a very attacking side, is it? But again, I can't remember how many injuries we had back then as well. We might have been suffering as well. But there we are, guys. Potter is no more. Potter has now left, and we kind of move on because we are looking for a new manager, and we're being told that they're going to take their time, and then we're being told that they're not going to take their time. So Pi's brought this comment out from Fabrizio Romano that says that Chelsea FC is attractive for all top managers in the world. This is the feeling. This is the supposed feeling around it. Why not when you've got the amounts of money that we have and the success that we have had? You know, you get the right project, you get the right idea, you get players on side. I think this could be a serious project. I really do. I think there is something that they're trying to do. Obviously, the progression from what they did with the spending which they did, was good. But then it was about the manager being able to progress with, and he couldn't do that. And it leaves us in the position now where we're gonna have to look again, Pies. And one name that seems to be popping up the most out of all of them, and we'll start with him first, is obviously this guy, Julian Nagelsmann. As we know, got sacked by Bayern Munich, only lost 3 games with them as well. Fabrizio Romano's most recent comment came out saying that Bayern are open to negotiate with any club to let Nagelsmann leave in order to save his salary until 2026. No issues on this. Nagelsmann also open to discuss a long-term project with Chelsea. No club-to-club talks on compensation yet at this stage. So he's made it clear that nothing's happened as of yet. But what I will say, before we obviously talk about him and Chelsea, is that I thought he was sacked anyway. So why is there I don't get why Chelsea would have to deal with compensation with Bayern. I thought he was just terminated contracts. It's kind of like a free manager, no? Why is that all included? Because it's not like Potter, for example, when we signed him. When we signed Potter, we took him away from Brighton, right? So we had to pay to get him away. He would have been sacked.
I think they're still paying his salary or something. I don't really know too much about it, but yeah, there's definitely some fee that we've got to pay if we want Nagelsmann.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see more on that. Obviously, we will get more detail on that. But the manager himself, obviously, some people are quite, yay, want him, can't wait, want him, he's the man. Others are a bit like, well, again, has he got the winner mentality? What has he got to show? Yeah, he's won a couple of trophies here and there. I mean, what's your thoughts on Nagelsmann to Chelsea?
I would like him, to be honest. I think he's probably my preferred candidate at this stage. I think he's very tactically flexible. I think he's got a really good mentality. I think what he's done in his, I'd say short career, but for only 35, he's managed 7 seasons. So he definitely is experienced in the Champions League. He got Leipzig to the semi-final, which is very impressive. He won, I think, all 8 games so far in the Champions League with Bayern, so very impressive. And I think that I know, apparently they were supposedly having a bad season, but they were only like 1 point or something off Dortmund.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Bayern have crazy standards. So, he would know what to expect from Chelsea. He knows, he will know, because being at Bayern, you have the similar sort of standards and fan expectations. So, yeah, I think he would be a good fit as well into our project. He's worked with a lot of young players at Leipzig. And developed them as well, Nkunku, Konate, Upamecano, others. So yeah, he's definitely got experience in what we need. And I think it would be interesting. I think it would be an interesting appointment. I think he's definitely tactically better than Graham Potter. I think he's a better manager. And I'd be interested to see how his methods translate into the Premier League. Whether that be in terms of, like, one of the only concerns I have really is that I don't know if, because being in the Bundesliga, you don't face too many deep blocks. It's quite an open league. So
yeah,
I've been interested to see how his tactics translate in terms of breaking down deep blocks. But I think he's just a very sort of savvy, smart manager. Yeah, I like his charisma as well. I think that's a big thing when we need to look at this next appointment is, can this guy get the fans back in? And I think he could. I think he's someone that
has he got winning
shows
mentality? Has he got a winning mentality? I mean, I know he's had a great.
I think so, bro. I think, not stereotyping, but German managers are just, they're built different. So you only have to watch the game against PSG of him on the touchline, bro. He was going absolutely insane. So I think he's got that drive to win for sure.
In terms of the type of manager he is on the pitch, how he likes to set up. Now, we've been, we could have a quick actual look, actually. We're going to do a quick, and this is how we're going to do things today. We're going to quickly assess him and his manager profile. We're going to do that with the other 2 as well. And then we're going to move over to his most favoured system. And then we're going to try and work out whether we feel it's a suit for us. Where I think it is a suit is obviously he's got the Red Bull model, and that's something I think we're looking to follow through. I think Vavell will push it. I think the most of the recruitment side will push it. I don't think Todd Bowley and Egbali will know much about him. Don't get me wrong. I feel, from my perspective, from what I've seen of him, I think he's a manager that can manage and get the best out of the qualities of the players that he does possess. He has an identity. He has a game plan. I'm not too sure how flexible he is, players, because I know his preferred formation is a 4-2-3-1. Has he played back threes before under Leipzig? I can't even remember.
Yeah, 3-4-3. Played a bit of 3-4-3 at Bayern.
Okay.
So yeah, he does play three at the backs, but also four at the back. It's not really too similar to what Potter was doing here in terms of 4-2-3-1 and 3-4-3. So I think in terms of the fit for our current squad, I think it's quite good. But it would just be interesting to see, I think, how his methods translate into the Premier League. Like, I'd be interested to see, what sort of tactical plans he has, because it's obviously different to the Bundesliga. So I don't know. I think he's just an intriguing coach, and I think if you look at the others, I think there's not too many inspiring names that you think, yeah, I absolutely want him over Nagelsmann.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we're at the moment, to be honest.
And that's where I feel like I struggle, because we had this conversation actually off air, and I said they don't all make me jump off my chair. And it's not because like they're not good managers, they are, but I just still feel that there's an unknown with every single one of them, in my opinion. And like with him, I think he fits the model. I think he fits the idea of what we want to do moving forward. I think he'll have a game plan identity. I think we'll play good football under him as well. I think he'll drill that. I do think he has a bit of passion about him. And the Ed, we've seen him. He also has a very interesting dressing style as well. I've seen on Twitter. He likes to dress quite differently as well. He's only young, 35 years old. To what we're trying to do in the project and moving forward, I think I can see why we would try and push for him. Does he give us that winning mentality, killing edge, and will he allow us to compete with the Cities and Liverpools? Depends. I think it still depends on what we do in the windows as well, because even though we've got quality, I think he also will probably still want to maybe add a name or two or a couple to, as most managers will do when moving forward. Can he handle a big group of players? There's another big question. Would he be able to handle a big squad and utilize the squad? Obviously, he's not going to be able to keep them all happy, but it's a possibility. Obviously, his record in the Bundesliga, or should we say 22-23, was quite impressive. He played 37 games, won 27, drawn 7, only lost 3 games. He got a maximum of 88 points, man, out of them games as well. You could scroll down. You could see a little bit of history there as well in regards to how long he'd managed in terms of matches and when he was appointed. Obviously, he was at Hoffenheim, which is where he got noticed, and then moved to Leipzig, and then made the jump to Bayern Munich, as we know as well. I thought it might give me a little bit more than that in terms of some other bits I was thinking of, but it doesn't. I wonder if it can give me. I mean, yeah, that was it. In terms of like trophies, what has he won? Well, you've got here the 3 trophies that he's won. Are they? What? I don't even know what they are. One of them's a Pokal, isn't it? I'm assuming German Cup. German Super League Super Cup winner. I don't know what that is. It doesn't even come up.
He won the Bundesliga, didn't he? I think in his first season.
He won that's it. He won the under 90s Bundesliga. He won the under 90s Bundesliga champions, and he won here the German. He was a German champion as well. Is what we've got here.
Yeah.
German. So he has won something. All right, it's not a massive CV. Don't get me wrong. He's not like, I don't know, like a Jose Mourinho type. But I don't think there's that many of them available. And this is my thing, because I want a manager that has the winning mentality. I want a manager that we can bring in and sort of gives us that edge. I don't think we lack the quality. I think the quality's there. I just think we need these players to be more consistent, understand the game plan, and then have a bit of a winnings and killers instincts. That's what I think we need, because we just don't seem to. I don't think we have that right now. And obviously, what I've done is I've kind of just made something up quickly. All right, just in regards to, and we're sticking on with Nagelsmann at the moment. All right, as well, is that obviously he's favoured a 4-2-3-1. So let's just say, I don't know, Sterling I don't really know how Havertz fits in the 4-2-3-1, to be honest. Let's put I don't know. Let's just say Mudryk, for example, in there. So you look at that. Obviously, he's managed with Nkunku before anyway. The only thing that worries me with the back four players is that I don't think we have a sitter. And I assume we will do that in the summer anyway. But if he's going to come over and he's going to want to implement the back four, from what we've seen of the back four at Chelsea, I think it's a bit of an issue because I don't think we're ready for it. And I think we do look better in the back three. Now, I'm not saying he won't set us up in the back three because he may do, but we know that his preferred formation is a four at the back. And with the offensive players we have, we should really have more offensive players on the pitch to be more effective. And I think he'll push that. Obviously, we might get a striker, which means, Nkunku might drop into here or whatever. If Felix may not be here or whatever, fine. But on paper, with this squad that we have, the quality we have, and him as a manager going into the domestic league, do you feel that we can go on and compete next year, or do you think it's more of like a Champions League sort of challenge with Nagelsmann?
I think first and foremost, we need to get back into the Champions League next season. To be honest with you, that's the main priority. There's a lot of competition now in the Premier League, but we need to get back into that. That would be my main priority, and also, hopefully win a trophy of some sort next season. I still hope we can get Europa League football and maybe perhaps win that. But yeah, it definitely would be interesting if it's Nagelsmann, because the comment is right there. He does like to have a proper striker. And, it'd be interesting because I've also heard that he doesn't really like pure wingers as such. So it's going to be interesting to see what that means for the likes of, development of Mudryk and stuff. But again, this is why I say the interview stage is going to be so important, because they're obviously going to ask him about all these players we've signed, and he's going to have to give his opinion on them essentially. And whoever fits in best with the development of these players is probably going to get the job, because let's face it, as much as they want to win trophies, we can't win trophies without developing these players and making them to a high level. The reason why we got these investments like Mudryk, like, other players, is because we want to develop them into superstars. So yeah, we're lucky that Enzo has adapted very quickly, but Enzo can still get even better. He's only 21. So, whoever fits that sort of, I hate to use the word long-term project, but whoever fits that sort of, whoever sort of fits best, I think with what the owners want is going to get the job. And I think Nagelsmann could be a strong candidate, but we'll have to see, because I don't know, man. I still have a little feeling Enrique might get the job just based off his experience and stuff. But I think Nagelsmann's probably the favourite.
Yes, for now. And things can change very, very quickly, as we already know. Just looking at, and we're going to come up to, we'll come out of that. Obviously, it's been interesting to know you guys in the chat's thoughts and feelings as well. Who is it that you feel, who is it you feel that you would like to see at Chelsea Football Club as well? A lot of people say Mourinho. Someone said Conte. Other people were saying some randoms. Obviously, we had a comment just come out now, actually, that basically just said that Spalletti won't happen. The Eintracht Frankfurt manager also won't take the job, is what we've been told. I don't even know why he's linked to us. I didn't even know he was even in the equation. I think some people just throwing them out there. Some people mentioning Zidane as well. Again, we've just not been linked to Zidane, have we, players? It's not at this point where we can be like, yeah, Zidane, because I don't think he's even in the talks, is he, for like the managers that we would look at.
No, Zidane, there's no way he would accept our job. There's no way he would be in Europa League football. Like, that guy is an icon of the game. He's rejected Premier League jobs as well before, I think. So, I think maybe perhaps he's waiting for that France job, or maybe Real Madrid come calling again when Carlo leaves. So, yeah, I don't think Zidane's even a candidate for us. He's not been mentioned once yet by any journalist whatsoever.
Let's move on to another one. Now, maybe the one that has more of a winning mentality. There's one thing's at Barcelona, semi-successful at Spain. All right, he did a weird thing, but done okay in the Euros. They got to the semi-finals. I think they did. Spain, okay at Roma. Now, some people again would look at him and go, "Yeah, he's the best fit in terms of style of play, how he likes to play the game." We'd get good football watching him. Others are saying, well, we're not too sure. Is it, from what we've seen of Enrique up to this point, is it enough to really fully commit to it? Is he the right man, really? Does he have a plan B in what he does? Or is it just going to be very more like the Sarri type ball? Before I go, I'll go to Players. What's your thoughts on Enrique to Chelsea? Obviously, I know you feel quite, I'd say confident, but you feel that it might possibly be Luis Enrique. Give me your thoughts on him as an option.
I like his experience. I know he's not had, the best of times in terms of the clubs he's managed, but beyond Barca that is obviously. But I do like him. I just think what you said actually in our chat earlier in terms of like plan B, is he too stuck to his ways? He's very possession based football. 100 passes before you shoot type thing. So I don't know how well that would go down with the fan base, to be honest. But I think he's someone that would demand respect from the players from day one, even more than Nagelsmann. Enrique is still a huge name, and he wants to come to the Premier League, so I think he'd be extremely motivated. But he's not my top option, I would say.
I
also don't like the fact that he would probably sign a load of Spanish players, and we've not had good luck with them, to be honest.
Yeah, that's the other thing as well. Some people say 9 trophies in 3 seasons. Enrique.
How many of those are at Barca?
Yeah, has numbers at Barca. Then he was poor at Roma. I would say he was poor. He had a good spell at Roma, as I'd say. He wasn't poor. This is the thing, and this is the problem, isn't it? Because there's not anyone that screams out, yes. Like, you look at Nagelsmann and he fits the model. But then you look at Enrique and you're like, well, he's actually got a good CV. I don't know. I know we know he wants Premier League as well. Now, in terms of him as a manager, obviously his most favoured formation is, as what we're being told on Transfer Market, is a 4-3-3, attacking 4-3-3. Now, from what we've seen of him, he doesn't like really playing with a number 9. He's not massive on strikers, and we know Chelsea are a team looking maybe at the potentials of a striker, and we'll go over to that in a second. But when you look at obviously his career as a manager for Spain, played he only managed 7 games with 4 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 14 points. Fine, it's not much to really look at from there. But obviously, most of his success was in Barcelona. Obviously, Roma back in 11-12, 41 matches to play, he managed over there. And then you go to the top and you look at what he's won, and you've got here the world's best club coach in that one season. He also won the Champions League. He's also won the FIFA Club World Cup winners as well with Barcelona, Spanish champions, and UEFA Super Cup champions. And I think there's even more to that. There you go. That gives you a bit of an idea. And again, when you look at that list of success, it is all Barcelona. There's not one trophy elsewhere. It's just at one team, a team that had a Messi in its prime. And I'm not saying you talk down to it, but I don't know. I'm semi unsure when it comes to him.
I think there's certain elements where you're unsure about everyone we could possibly hire right now. But what I think we have to remember is a lot of fans are unsure about Thomas Tuchel, and he ended up winning the Champions League. So I remember all the talk at the time. People were like, "Oh, PSG, it's easy to win there. He only won 1 trophy at Dortmund." So I think if we get Enrique, I still think it's an exciting appointment. So is Nagelsmann. There's others that I think maybe, but not really. So yeah, I think it's got to be one of those two, though, man. For me, it's got to be. Like, I can't see it being anyone else, to be honest with you.
No way Enrique was going to play with Morata up front. Big up, man. Big up. Yeah, I know he had Iniesta and PK and all of them people, Xavi's and whatever else. I get it. I do get it. That's why I'm still unsure. But what I will say in terms of what he will bring to the team is that he will bring a lot of. It'll bring us, maybe Vic. This is another thing which might be an issue, but it will bring a style of play. It's just how successful is the style of play and how consistent can we be with it? Is it going to be a case that he has a real good 1 season or 2 and all of a sudden we get found out and then we just can't seem to switch the systems because he isn't able to do that. You know, you've got to bear in mind he's going to have a full squad. He's going to have a big squad. You know, last player. But no, we're going to talk about Poch. Don't worry, Poch is Poch has to be talked about because he's being linked to us as well. But in terms of a 4-3-3, he doesn't like forwards players, but obviously we do have an Nkunku. This is more of a system which I think you'd probably see more direct wingers, maybe not a Felix, maybe someone else a bit more direct there. And in terms of midfield, I don't know how he would play the midfield, but he likes to have more of a sitter with people too that can push forward. So maybe like a Fernandez, which will then be unleashed, and then or a Kante there and a DM there. Whether it's, I don't know, let's just say for example, let's say it's a Latvia in that role there, you know, and then it allows these two to sort of progress forward. I mean, when you look at us on paper, if we were to be managed by Enrique and what we possess currently at the moment, would you prefer to have an Enrique or would you prefer to have an Nagelsmann based on just the tactical elements?
Sorry, would I prefer Enrique?
Would you prefer Enrique or would you prefer Nagelsmann based more on just the tactical side of it and looking at what we currently have at the moment and how we could set up a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1 and how we would play in the Premier League as well in their styles?
I don't know. That's a difficult question. I actually don't know, to be honest. I don't know. I don't know enough about both of them like extensively to say. You know what I mean? I'm not too sure, to be honest.
Yeah, it's probably, to be honest, hard to judge at this point because, again, I think what most of us could all say is that we don't know enough when it comes to both of them. But, you know, at the end of the day, and we're going to go to it in a second, actually, from what we're being told via Simon Phillips is that one of the managers will be appointed, i.e. prior to the Madrid game. I've been told the club want the right man in for Madrid. Best source, not sure if he'll report, though, as fully against the grain. Obviously, Nagelsmann is heating up. Obviously, we spoke about Luis Enrique and his success. The other one that seems to be popping up quite a lot is a manager that some fans want. I'll say some fans actually do want. Others are not so sure on, and it's this guy, Pochettino.
Fuck that guy, man. Jesus.
Well, you'll be shocked. There's a couple of people, mate, I've been speaking on here. They've come on here and said, Monster wants Pochettino. By the way, he wants Pochettino. He's put a video up of why he wants Pochettino. Don, who comes on my panel here, has stressed why he wants Pochettino. He's given reasons, which I could probably actually share to you and see what you think. But
they're literally forgetting the whole thing about the Chelsea fan base, bro. Have these guys been to games, man? They don't understand what it means to the Chelsea supporters inside the ground to have a connection with the manager. Why if Pochettino came, it would be literally toxic from day one. It would be like Benitez all over again. It'd be worse than Sarri. Like, you can have your reasons. I don't think he's like a bad coach, and maybe he does fit our project in terms of young players. But there is no way that it would be such a pointless appointment. There's no way the fans would accept that nonsense. There's no way that would be such a backward step. Like, honestly, in terms of just
why though, and I want to know more though. Why?
Because the fans might actually lose it. The fans might actually lose it with Bowley and think he hasn't got the best interests because he doesn't. If they hire Poch, it means that the owners and all the people that they've hired know nothing about Chelsea's history. That's what they're telling us, basically.
Poch is miles clear of Nagelsmann, is what Don's saying.
Yeah, he looks like it at PSG, to be fair.
And this is the thing, right? And I've tried to. I've spoken to Poch wanters, shall I say? And I've said to him the same thing. PSG, he had all the talent in the world, and he didn't even win a title with them. But then they try and drag Tuchel in it and say, "Well,
guy's a bottler, man. He's such a loser. Why would you want Poch? Like, this guy's a loser."
Well,
you just know he'd be such a little puppet as well to the board. I can't stand him, honestly. I I absolutely have no idea why people would want this guy at our
So
club.
I'll tell you why. This is the reasons I've been told. One, he's got Premier League experience, so he just comes straight back in and apparently
Fantastic. That's such a great point.
Secondly,
What?
he coaches the best out of the qualities of players that ain't ready yet.
And has won what?
Well, barring Harry Kane and maybe Dele Alli, that's really the only two players that I can think of that are actually able to do that. But that's another reason. They just feel that we're not ready yet to be looking at the top. So they feel like what we should do is go out and find a manager like Poch who can get us playing well and bring the best out of these players.
That's what Nagelsmann would do. And have a connection with the fans, in my opinion.
I just can't. I can't accept Fraudicino. I've said this for a long time. Like, I just...
No one will accept it. Trust me.
I will find it very hard to be happy with the ball. Like what Pius said, find it very hard to be happy with the ball. I find it very hard to even give this... I don't think, like you said, I don't even think he will be given a good opportunity, and that's the problem. I don't know, man. Other than Tottenham, and they go, well, look at what he did at Tottenham, and then he won the league, he got the Champions League final, lost to Liverpool. Like, look what he did in that time. You know, he done really well. But, like, yeah, all right, fine. He managed to manage certain players at Tottenham that made them better. Don't get me wrong, and they did have good parts of the season. But there's no doubting that he does not have, and I keep telling people this, he does not have the winning mentality. He doesn't. You can't tell me that he has the winning mentality as a manager when he goes to PSG and in their first season of losing it to Lille, which they did, in their first season, they lose the trophy with Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi in the team. It's with him. And then he gets sacked on the back of it. Like, and then you all of a sudden, oh, well, Tuchel, if you take away his domestic trophies, the three, they're pretty similar, but everyone bigs up Tuchel. Why are they bigging up Tuchel and comparing him to Poch? I've never heard so much nonsense in my life. Some people think Poch and Tuchel are on the same page. I'm not joking, Pies. Some people think they do.
Oh my God.
They said if you take away his trophies, apparently if you discredit his trophies, that he done in the French league, because the French league back then was nothing. What has Tuchel won, which is much different from? And look at that's what they said. That's what they said.
It's not worth having these people on your channel, bro. They don't know football.
But I agree with you. But we have to look into it. Obviously, big up to Lewis in the chat as well. He's decided to pop in and raid for a bit. Over 400 people in the building as well. Shout out to you guys. I find it hard to talk about him, and we can look at him as a manager because we've done it with the others as well, and it's worth maybe speaking on. But he was at PSG for 84 games before he got sacked, and he was at Tottenham for 293 before that. Oh, that was it. I forgot. Don't forget his time at Southampton, Pies. Remember his time at Southampton? How good he was and how he brought all them players through, like what's his name? Wanyama and them lot and co. It was all Poch. That's why we need
I don't care about any of this though, because he will never build a connection with the fans, and ultimately that's the most important thing, because whatever the fans think projects onto the pitch and projects onto the players. So yeah, it's an irrelevant discussion in my opinion. He could have won the Champions League twice. I still wouldn't want him at Chelsea.
He could have won the Champions League twice. Yeah, I mean, he had a chance with Tottenham, which was probably the worst Champions League final I've ever seen in my life. Liverpool versus Tottenham, the most boring final I've ever seen. All right, he flopped with PSG on the Champions League, but most managers do. But the least you think you can do in the French league is win the title. You should be winning the title, and he didn't even do that. And people were really saying that Poch is being underlooked. Poch is being like this, is that. Tactically, he's perfect for Chelsea. That's what we're being told. Maybe you're right. I'm not saying he's absolutely a shocking manager. He's not. But he's not what we want moving forward. He's not going to give us that. I don't think he closes the gap. I don't think he closes the gap to the top. I said as a joke the other day, I said he's the Argentinian Brendan Rodgers. Like, Brendan Rodgers was given a lot of time at Liverpool, as well. And look how that went as well. Ben has been exposed. What's Ben Jacobs done? What kind of odds are populating there, Jem? What he's talking about, guys, in the chat? Oh, I've said this to Don so many times. Don just loves the idea. And when you look at the formation that he likes playing, well, it is, again, the same as Luis Enrique. He likes a 4-3-3. So you've got three managers that we're interested in, whose preferred systems are 4-3-3s and a 4-2-3-1. The only thing that Nagelsmann has maybe that the other two don't is he has the flexibility in his system because he has played three at the backs before. So, it's looking like it could be Nagelsmann. Price seems to think it might be Luis Enrique. Still, that could still happen. Don't get me wrong. I agree. But there's also talks around Spalletti. Pies. Spalletti. I don't think so. And I mean, whoever brought out that comment this morning about Spalletti as being an option, I don't think so. But also there's the Jose Mourinho call. I mean, do you really want to see Jose back at Chelsea?
No, come on. Like, do people understand what type of squad we have, bro? It's like full of players that are like 18 to 26. Like, Jose would just, no, it's not the right fit at all for us. Nowhere near the right fit.
So, the issue we have here, Pies, and this is what I'm trying to get at, is that when you look at the options that are available to us at this moment in time, and obviously it seems like we want to try and make a decision sooner rather than later. Do you think it's a bit of a problem? Just because it's very limited. Like, would it not be better for us to maybe just wait out the 10 games and go in the summer and just see the movement of managers?
Not
And
because then we will lose Nagelsmann to Real Madrid or PSG or somewhere like that, and then we'll end up, Enrique could have a job, and then we will end up with someone like Pochettino or someone like that who's just below them two. So, no, we need to get it done now. Nagelsmann or Enrique, please get it sorted.
Ancelotti?
Nope, not for me. Think he's past it. I know he's done well at Real Madrid, but personally, I think he's past it. I mean, Everton, he didn't do a very good job there, in my opinion. Surprised he even went there. No, I don't think he's the right fit for us either. I think that's one that's gone past it. And also, he's going to be the Brazil head coach, isn't he? So, and that's not true, by the way, because Real Madrid have literally been linked with Nagelsmann. So, in the last few days, so that's not true at all.
Nagelsmann at Leipzig plays 3-4-3 and played a 4-2-3-1. Nagelsmann immediately. Ancelotti got Everton to 7th. He is elite. In my opinion, he is elite. I agree. I think Ancelotti is a great manager. I'm just not sure if he's the right option now as well. I don't know. I'm just so not sold on any. I know we've got to make a decision, but I'm just so not sold on all of them. But at the same time, it's like Tuchel, because when Tuchel came to Chelsea, I sat down and I said to myself again, I don't know what to expect. And, he went and won a Champions League and we ended up liking him and falling in love with him. And, he ended up getting sacked. So I don't know is the answer to that. You wait to the summer and you maybe wait and see if, a couple of other elite managers come available. I don't think so. I don't think Pep's going anywhere. I don't think Pep would come to Chelsea anyway. To be honest, people were mentioning Pep. Jose Mourinho, yeah, he has the winning mentality, but it's the style of football. Do we want to really go down that route with the players we have? Yes, we would get a lot more. Would be a lot more tight and we'd be a lot more organised, I think, and we'd win games. Maybe not with the greatest of football, in my opinion. A lot of people saying Ancelotti. Ancelotti's the GOAT. I don't know, AJ. That's the problem. I don't
think he's a very good fit for what we're building right now. Personally, I think the fit is the most important thing in terms of how we want to build the squad. I don't know. It's not do you really think he can compete at the highest level in the Premier League? Because there's one thing doing it in Spain, but then they're not even going to win the title this year, are they? I don't think. I think Barca are ahead of them, so there's that.
Yeah, that's true as well. But it just then falls back down to the whole thing with the lack of quality managers anyway. So we're going to have to look at maybe, well, we know we've got a long-term project. We know what we're kind of trying to do moving forward here. So maybe does Nagelsmann at 35-year-olds fit the bill perfectly, completely? I think he does. The whole, him himself and the project, I think you understand it like that, because I think he will just feel it's kind of very similar to the Red Bulls element of it. I think we have quality players that he can use and possess and make work. I think he has more options to his flexibility in terms of lineups. So when I look at it overall, I was more pulled to Enrique originally just because of the winning edge, but then I'm still stuck with him on the tactical element because I think we would, play well and win games, and it's just then how long until they work us out, and then what we do moving forward, which is an issue for me. I'm just so in between with it all, guys. There's 550 people here, though. Big up to every single one of you guys. Probably between, again, in no order, AJ, I'd probably say either Enrique or Nagelsmann, like everyone else. There's no other options at this moment in time. That it has to be them. It can't be Poch for me. It just can't be Poch. If they announce Poch, I don't know what I would say. Who's this? Oliver Gleason. Who's that?
Hey, Father's in the chat. Yeah, he's in the chat. Ask him what he would think about Poch at the ground. What do you think would happen, bro? Can you tell these guys in the comments, please, what would happen if Poch came to Chelsea? Can you please, help them understand? Thank you.
What, do you think the going fans would not like Poch? I think it would be more...
They would absolutely hate him, mate. And I've seen it firsthand. They would absolutely hate him. They would fucking despise anyone from who used to be a Tottenham manager, bro. I fucking despise him.
Benitez. No, Benitez.
Yes, Benitez vibes, I agree.
Oh, right. Benitez vibes in terms of Poch, yeah, potentially. Yeah, potentially. Oh, I don't know. I mean, let's move on to who is currently the manager at Chelsea, Bruno. I didn't watch his press conference, but I read parts of it, and it seemed like he held himself quite well. And what actually is just in the background watching him a little bit now, but
Nagelsmann's idol is JT, by the way. So for the passion merchants that want some passion back, Nagelsmann would bring that, but also maybe JT could be one of his assistants in some way.
Well, apparently, a certain someone doesn't want. It's quite funny because I don't think anyone cares in the world, but it did get sent to me just now. Someone doesn't want Nagelsmann. I wonder who he wants. I'd be really intrigued to know who he wants. Jesus.
I posted this on my personal. I was like, yeah, that's it. Hire Nagelsmann. Rory's always wrong. Get it done.
Just hire the opposite of what he, says no to. That's all I'm going to say. No, hire the opposite. So yeah, literally, just sign Nagelsmann. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm going to say.
Chelsea should see that video and be calling him right now.
Honestly, this guy, I actually think he's sitting down, probably looking for another English name manager right now. That's what I think he's doing. He's probably
looking at Brendan Rodgers, bro, even though he's like Northern Ireland, Irish.
Yeah, he probably would. I reckon he's going to come out of a clip saying this put Brendan Rodgers as manager. Or saying like it would not surprise me. It would not surprise me. Let's talk about the interim manager, Bruno. Obviously, he was a part of Graham Potter's team, still is. Graham Potter's team still there until obviously new manager comes in and obviously he brings his own team. I didn't get to watch the press conference too much. He said in terms of the squad itself, it's the same as last week. So I'm assuming Thiago Silva ain't available again. What do you think, mate? I mean, obviously, again, is this a thing of where he's only going to be here for a game or two and he's going to go? Obviously, he spoke about Potter and the players and said that they were all quite shocked with it all. And it's not all logged in their head still and whatever. But, he's got a big game tomorrow, isn't he? He's got a big game tomorrow against Liverpool and he's got to lead us out there. Like, what is it? Like, is he going to set us up differently? I don't really know what to expect with this guy, guys. That's what I'm saying. What do we expect with Bruno tomorrow?
Mate, I have absolutely no idea, honestly. I don't know what's going to happen. I think if I had to predict something, I think he'll probably stick to pretty much the same team, same formation. But I think he will maybe change a couple of players because he did say in his press conference that he thought we played pretty well. So even though we lost, which I do agree with, to be fair, I thought we did play pretty well going forward, but the defense was just shocking. So yeah, I don't think he'll change too much.
Koulibaly, mate, it was awful the first. I was sitting in front of him. First 10 minutes, I've never seen such a worse display of football in my life than watching Koulibaly in that first 10 minutes. Couldn't make a pass, was too tight to his man. Ollie Watkins was just eating him up, turning him, running him behind. I'm just surprised Badiashile didn't start, to be honest. I thought they would have used him because he's a bit more physical, but who knows? Sean, big up to you. He says that You know what, Rory probably wants Southgate, is what he's saying. Big up to you, bro. Big up to you. I don't know what to expect, and I don't really know how we're going to line up. But what we can do quickly, guys, and I am going to do a preview tomorrow with the panel. Not today, but tomorrow we'll do another preview potentially for the Liverpool game. But we'll quickly go through what we think will be the lineup, how we should line up against Liverpool. They're not in any real great form themselves, players. Really, let's be serious. Obviously, on the back of losing to Man City, I think they got Arsenal after us as well, if I'm right in saying. In terms of changes, I know we're not too sure in terms of how he's going to set up. But do you think he will go? Do you think he will switch to a back four, or do you think he will still stick to a back three with what we currently have at the moment and how we have been playing?
For tomorrow,
Yeah.
I think back three still, bro. I don't think it will change much, to be honest with you.
Right. Okay. So let's do the back three that's going to start. So are we going to go again? Cucurella didn't have the greatest of games against Villa. Who comes in against Liverpool for you?
Badiashile has to start. If he doesn't start, I'm going to flip shit. Honestly, I don't care if Bruno's the manager. Badiashile has to play, bro. I can't believe he didn't play against Aston Villa. He's been so good for us. It's ridiculous. I don't understand.
Yeah, I agree. I think Badiashile has to start. I don't see the point of Cucurella in this game. I think he's good enough to deal with Mo Salah as well. Ferguson, big up to you guys. Please smash the likes as well. Still over 500 of you guys here. We're doing a quick team lineup for the game against Liverpool tomorrow. And then it goes back to the big question in the middle, Don, Pies. Koulibaly he's just too hot and cold for me at the moment. He's a bit of a problem. Thiago Silva's not available. Fofana, is he in? I don't know. Is Fofana available? I don't even know.
I think he said the team news was the same as the other day, so I think Fofana and Sterling are still out, which is annoying.
What are we going to do at the back here, bro? Because Trevor Chalobah didn't get played, and that really annoyed me against Villa.
Yeah, I would probably play Koulibaly and Chalobah just because I think you need Reece James at right wing back for this game.
So we're going to be forced into no choice here of playing Koulibaly, but I agree. I think Chalobah has to play. You can't be having Reece James playing that far back. And if he does do that again and puts Reece James there, I'm going to be flipping because Ruben Loftus-Cheek, we know he's not a wing back, yeah, but man, that game, man, he honestly was grinding me because it just didn't make sense. You know, we were so unbalanced because he was asked to hold the wing and create, and he just isn't able to do it as good as Reece James.
I think it was the crosses. I think he had 0 out of 6 accurate crosses. It was quite bad.
Bro, he just takes so many touches in the box. We've laid it off to him. We'd get it in the middle. We'd lay it off to him and expect it first time. It will go 1, 2, 3. By the time he crosses it, everyone's like back defending. Like, you can't do anything. So I'm just so frustrated with him. Ben Chilwell has to start. I'm not even going to even ask that question because I think he has to play. You know, I know you've got a big thing for Kovacic, but I don't think he was good the last game round. I think he struggled, bro, with Enzo. But I also thought Enzo struggled as well. But I just think as much as I like seeing Enzo and Cover, and it has worked, I just don't know whether Enzo and Cover is the way forward for Liverpool. But say that Liverpool's midfield's shit anyway, so maybe Enzo and Cover will be fine. So my question to you is, who's your two in the middle for this game? Bearing in mind Kante is available as well.
I would still do Enzo and Cover, and I'd bring Kante on for like 30 minutes probably. Because if Kante can start, then yeah, but I don't think he can. I mean, it's his first bench appearance, so yeah, I think Kante build up his minutes, bring him off the bench, especially against tired legs. I mean, we could overrun Liverpool's midfield, I think, later on in the game.
Yeah, I think. Well, if you look at Kante, he played 60 minutes behind closed doors. He played another 20 odd minutes against Villa. Yeah, I think we have to be careful with him. This is a game where
it's great, crazy though. Cover and Enzo have started so many games together that surely at some point, I mean, maybe it'll be Wolves, but you know, so surely at some point Zakaria or someone has to come in there and give one of them a rest.
Zakaria as well. I forgot about that. I mean,
yeah.
What annoys me is the whole setup because Kovacic always seems to find himself outside the box when I want Enzo there, and it always lands to Kovacic and it ends up going to Rose. Do you know what I mean? It's like, if that was Enzo there, though, you know he's going to hit that on target. Do you know? Like, it's just, oh, mate, I don't know why we just tell Enzo to play so deep. It just drives me mad. It does genuinely drive me mad. And it's going to drive me mad for a long time because this guy is the key. I keep telling people he needs to be able to just go forward, but then obviously he'll do his bit back, but just go forward without having to worry about being at the back. At the moment, I feel like he kind of just plays like this. He goes forward a bit, but like Kovacic seems to be the one that always seems to be in there. And like the corners against Villa, Enzo Fernandez was one of the guys in the box trying to win a header. I think he scored actually, I think, on one of them. Like, he should be the one at the edge of the box. He's probably our best shooter outside the box in the team. And we've got him inside the box trying to win headers. Like, tactically, Potter just got things so fucking messed up. It wound me up. But, yeah. And then it goes on to the front three, doesn't it? Because João Felix and Kai Havertz seem to have a good connection in chemistry. Do you change that? I mean, Sterling's not available anyway. I'd like to have seen Sterling this game. And then on top of that, the question goes with Mudryk, because I thought he was. I just think he plays with a handbrake. I don't know why he's playing with a handbrake, but when I watch him, I just feel like everything's handbrake with him. It's like he's holding himself back. So does Pulisic get in this team for Liverpool? And I think Pulisic likes Liverpool anyway. He seems to play quite well against. So what I'd ask you, Pies, is who would be your front three for this game?
Oh, that's an interesting one. I think Pulisic is probably a shout considering how he usually performs against Liverpool. I know some people in the chat will probably go, fuck Pulisic or whatever. I know he's a very controversial player in terms of like with the fan base. Some people hate him for some reason. Some people think he's really good. I'm kind of in the middle. I think he can be really good. Other times I think he's pretty bad. But I would actually go Pulisic, Felix, and Havertz if I had my personal opinion.
Felix through the middle.
Yeah, I think with this though, what you've seen with Felix and Havertz is they do switch quite a bit. So
yeah,
I think I'd like to see this. Pulisic always seems to play well against Liverpool, so he's got a thing against them. So I think it makes sense. But again, I don't think like Bruno will like look into or know this sort of thing in terms of like who does good against who, but hopefully he gives Pulisic a start. I think it's unlikely. I think it will probably be Felix, Havertz, and
Mount.
Oh, that would be quite something. I was going to say Madueke, but I don't know if he's really in the thinking, to be honest. Maybe Mudryk again, to be fair. It may be Mudryk, but I think he should come off the bench, Mudryk.
I think Madueke should come off the bench before Mudryk, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, they're both for shouts, but it's a difficult one. We've got a lot of options off the bench tomorrow,
With Madueke, from what I see, when he comes on, at least he's effective because he gets the ball and he runs at people and he creates space. Like, he actually does what he's meant to do, and I like that. And he cuts the side off the left, and he's just he's strong as well. I actually like Madueke. I think he's a good player. Mudryk doesn't offer enough, bro. That's the problem.
You've got obviously the argument that Mudryk against their high line could be good, but again, when he got played in last game, I mean, what did he do? It was 1-on-1, loads of space. So.
Mate, this guy's got, and I can see this guy's got the ability, but I don't know what's going on with him, man. I don't know whether now Potter's gone. I'd like to see his I am really interested, right, to see whoever plays and whoever comes on, how they play since Potter's been sacked. It's going to tell me a lot. Because I can't work out with why Mudryk was playing on such a handbrake so much, man. Like, it was just, I didn't get, like, he wasn't playing to his strengths. Get the ball, dribble. Like, he can dribble for fun. This boy is so quick. And then on top of that, like you said, he's so quick in behind. You ain't catching him once he's through. Like, he just doesn't play to his strengths, Pulisic, Havertz, Felix is for me. I would go with Pulisic, Havertz, Felix to start with. I'd play 3-4-3, and I'd probably, that would be my team. Barring maybe Kante, if he was actually like, yeah, I'm ready, let's go. But I don't know. I think we have a problem with output at the moment. I think we know that. I don't think we have finishers in the team, whether it's João Felix or Havertz or Pulisic. They can score a goal, but they're just not clinical enough. Pulisic can put it in the back of the net, actually, on his odd days. Felix, I don't know with Felix. I like Felix. I do like Felix. Don't get me wrong. I think he offers a lot in transition with the ball. He drops deep and he has the ability to turn players and run with it and then start us off. I think that's important. I'm just not sure with Felix and his outputs. That's my only thing with Felix. I just don't think he does enough. But then at the same time, what player does? I mean, Havertz has been playing better of recent, but then even against Aston Villa, he kind of fizzed out. And I think again that all fell to balance and width and creativity and actually crossing the ball in the box, because we just couldn't cross in that game. It was fucking ridiculous. Yeah, I think that you have to go with that. That's what we're going to have to do. We're just going to have to hope. We're just going to have to hope that that's enough to beat him, and go from there. Him trying to convince himself. He's like, I've never hated Felix. People think I hate Felix when I talk about him, but this is the thing with Felix. Like, we're going to spend 80 million on this guy, and people were telling me that he does more than what Havertz, Pulisic, Ziyech, and all that do, which is outputs, which means he actually puts the ball in the back of the net and he actually creates. But he doesn't do that. He's more of someone that is good with the ball and then builds, like he's got that. He does all of that like Eden bit where he picks the ball up deep, he runs with it, he links up play, he gets in the box, it lands to him and bang, straight at the goalie or side netting. Like, he just needs to improve his end product. Am I being harsh on Empires when I talk about Felix? I just feel like he could be a little bit better in front of goal, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree, to be fair. I think he should, score some more chances. But I think in terms of like who's naturally a better player out of, Havertz, Pulisic, Felix, I think Felix is definitely, above those. I think in terms of natural talent and ability, like, I think he's definitely a better player, but the others might get more output. But I think Felix is also like a luxury player. He's someone that, you sprinkle in with other top players. And I think that's what's exciting about next season, because and when the other players develop, like Mudryk and stuff, when we have Felix in and around those guys, they're just gonna, mix really well and flourish. That's the hope of it all. And I mean, the Aston Villa game, like, he didn't score, but I'll constantly say it's not even the Aston Villa game, but whenever we have a chance, he's always the one who starts the move somehow. He's always involved somehow.
And he finishes it as well. It is a culture. He starts and finishes it. Like, he done an amazing second half run, right? He passes it into Havertz. Him and Havertz have got good chemistry, by the way. I'm not going to joke. Them two really link up well throughout the game. They've got some sort of, like, they understand him, which is good to see. But, like, he got the ball inside the box. So he got the 1-2 with Havertz, isn't it? And he kind of, like a good example. When Hazard scored that goal where against Newcastle, I don't know if you remember, where he picks the ball up and he 1-2s it with Etu, and Etu does that back heel flick and it goes through to him, and then Hazard side foots it against Newcastle. I think he scored a hat trick that day, Hazard, right? That composure in that last bit of the moment is the difference for me, because he can do. I'm not saying he's Hazard, don't get me wrong, but he does that type of thing where he gets himself into that position, but then he just completely fuffles it. Like, he punted it at the goalie rather than actually thinking place, corner, and that's like the difference when I watch Felix. Like, sometimes I feel like that he misses that, and I think we're going to need output next season. It can't just be Nkunku, on his own scoring double digits. If he does, if he does, obviously, but we need players that are going to contribute around him, But we'll see. Tomorrow's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to the game. I'll ask you the quick question, Piers, of score prediction before we finish off on this one. Are we going to take another L? Or do you feel we've got a good chance to go and win this? Or is it going to just be another boring draw? Because we seem to draw against Liverpool all the time.
Yeah, I think it will be a draw or we'll lose, to be honest, if I had a prediction. It's a weird one because I don't know how the players are going to react to this. Like, they may just be so shocked that it's just like a really shitty game and they're just concentrating on the next manager type thing and their head's in another, space. So I hope that's not the case, but I think it could quite clearly be the case. But then there's also the possibility that they're like, fuck this. If we beat Liverpool, like, let's show the next manager what we can do, that type of thing. So I think, I mean, I'd say like 30% of me thinks we're going to go and actually batter them. And then the other percent of me, like 70%, thinks, it's just going to be a boring game and we'll probably lose. So we'll have to wait and see. I think it's a really unpredictable game to call because there's so many unknown elements. What's Bruno going to be like on the touchline? What teams are going to put out? How the players going to react? How do Liverpool play?
how does the crowd react as well? Like, does the crowd get boosted just because a lot of the fans inside wanted Potter gone, and it kind of gets a bit more exciting? I guess, I don't know. It's going to be very interesting.
Will we get a manager bounce? Is the interesting one, isn't it? Will we actually get a bit of an uplift from that? I don't know. You'd think maybe that might happen because of the recent results anyway, but also Liverpool lost as well. So they're going to be up for like coming in and responding as well. It's going to be a good game. I think it'll be a good game. Whether it's a boring game, we have to wait and see. But I've enjoyed it. Good little show. 1 minute, 1 hour and 20 minutes in, players. We've not done too bad. We've covered most. I'm sure you'll be back once we get some sort of management discussion. Once we know who we've got, if it is announced before Real Madrid, we'll obviously do a show on that and talk about them specifically and the news and whatever else. But any sort of last final thoughts, mate?
No, I just hope we win tomorrow, and then we get, a manager that we can all sort of get behind at least. That's my hope for the next week.
Nice, yeah. And I'm going to go over two. I'm going to go with a.
You are one brave person, considering we haven't beat anyone in the top 10.
I'm going to go with a 2-1 win, Chelsea. 2-1.
Yeah, nice.
2-1. I think it's going to be like 1-0, and then it's going to be 1-0, and then it's going to be 2-1. Why do people keep saying Ben Jacobs is mudded all the time? I don't get what's going on. What's he done? Does anyone know?
Ben Jacobs has done nothing wrong. A lot of journalists said that he was going to get the Liverpool game, so it was a fast-moving situation. Even Ornstein must be mudded according to his comments, because Ornstein also indicated that he would get the Liverpool game. So,
yeah, I think people just people need to relax a bit. Relax, team, relax. All right, man. Pies, big up to you, bro. I've enjoyed it. A good show as always, man. It's nice to see you on here as well. We look forward to having you back again as well. Over 400 people still here as well. I hope you guys have enjoyed the show as well, guys. We'll be back potentially tomorrow to reassess more the Liverpool game with the panel. If not, it will be the match reaction, which will be on the next day, which is Wednesday at 1 o'clock, probably normal time, and we'll discuss the game there as well. But take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you again very soon, guys. Take care.